Hello, my name is Emily. I run a Twitch channel called Deep Fried XP. If you haven't heard of it, you should check it out. We play a lot of fun stuff. I primarily play Blizzard games. As you might be able to tell, I'm quite an Overwatch fan. But yeah, we have a great little community growing, and I love it so far. I've met some amazing people through Twitch. Today I'm going to talk about something that's kind of on the heavyish side. I mean, it doesn't have to be heavy. It's certainly not an uncommon thing, but I wanted to talk about my mental illnesses and how they pertain to my Twitch streaming, how they affect my career, or just... Whew, this is difficult already. Awesome. I wanted to talk about how they affect me as a streamer and sometimes how they affect my stream. I think that one of the most important things to do when you're trying to overcome an obstacle, first, of course, is to recognize that there is a problem. The more knowledge that you have about something, and the more you're willing to admit that you have it, and the more you're willing to deal with it head on, I feel like you're gonna have a better shot at dealing with it adequately. So, I'm making this for myself, to kind of keep myself motivated and keep myself accountable, but I'm also making it for other people who are in my shoes, who also struggle with mental health issues, but don't want to let that interfere with their dreams. You know, don't want to let that stop them from getting into streaming, getting into YouTube content creation of any kind. As most people know, kind of carving a name for yourself in any kind of entertainment industry, but especially online right now, is hard enough without having any mental health issues, right? There's so many people. The market is oversaturated, extremely. And I mean, that can be enough of a deterrent in itself. That can be kind of demotivating in itself, especially when you're a new streamer and it takes a while to get your first viewers and your first followers and keep your first few regulars coming in. But, words are evading me. I'm gonna try and do this as a one-take thing because I'm a perfectionist and I feel like if I don't, then I'll just be editing everything down to pieces and it will just be, it'll take all night. But, gosh. So I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder at the age of 12. My parents thought that I had Asperger's syndrome, or they were questioning if I had that. And if you don't know what Asperger's is, it's kind of a high-functioning disorder on the autism spectrum. So a lot of people with Asperger's act kind of socially awkward. They're not great at understanding what people are understanding, body language and facial expressions and things, because for people with social anxiety disorder, you can act very, very awkward when you're shy, obviously, right? So yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 12, so mental illness has been something that's affected me for a long, long time, and I think I struggled with it way before then, actually, because when I was 5, around that time, when I was 5 or 6, I was bullied really badly in school, and I had a speech impediment. And you would think I have a speech impediment now by the way I'm talking, but I'm just tired, and this is kind of a difficult thing to discuss, right? Mental health issues. But yeah, I had a speech impediment. Kids are obviously not the nicest sometimes, so I think that may have had something to do with me developing the anxiety disorder. I just got really, really afraid of being around people, especially in crowds, because I guess the fear center in my brain, my amygdala, kind of associated people with danger, right? From my past. Anyway, so I struggle with social anxiety disorder, and I also have depression. And these things have really, really affected me in the past to a large extent, I'm not going to get too deep into it because I don't want to look to the past. I just want to look to a brighter future. But I have to try and be proud of myself. As hard as it is for somebody with mental health issues to give yourself credit where it's due, considering where I was in my past and all the things that I used to do to try and cope and make myself feel better in my past, I think I've actually come quite a long way. I was doing everything from alcohol and drugs to being promiscuous and cutting and smoking, and you know, I've stopped doing all of that. And one thing has remained, though. One thing that I've struggled with my entire life in terms of coping with my mental health issues, and that is learning to eat properly. I've always kind of used food as a coping mechanism and to help myself feel better when I'm down or when I'm bored or whenever I'm experiencing any kind of negative emotion, and that's something that I'm going to be working on. And that is also something that has affected my streaming as well. I mean, it's not easy for a girl to feel uncomfortable about her body on stream, right? And I know that it has to do a lot with self-confidence, and I really, really admire the women in entertainment industries who can have a little extra meat on their bones and still feel confident and comfortable with themselves. There are plenty of women like that. I give them all the respect in the world. I think that's amazing, but something I struggle with a lot. And I mean, until I get to where I want to be, I'm going to have to learn to embrace and accept and love my body for the way it looks. Because your body is not the important part, right? It's a tiny, tiny part of you. And I want everybody who's watching this video and who struggles with weight issues to remind themselves of this as well. Your body is not you. Your body is a part of you. You are not defined by your appearance. And this is something that I have to keep reminding myself almost every time that I stream. Because I'm incredibly self-conscious of the way that I look. Anyway, that's one of the things that impedes me as a streamer that I'm going to have to work on. Depression, some of the symptoms of depression are incredibly hard to deal with and can definitely put a damper on getting anywhere as a streamer, right? There's the lack of motivation, the fatigue. So those are some of the things that you're going to have to learn to mitigate. For me, especially, fatigue is a thing. I'm not really a high energy person. If I'm doing a lot of stuff, then usually I have to be like keeping the caffeine in my system like all day long. But yeah, I'm not a high energy person, and I struggle with motivation. I struggle with motivation when I feel like I don't see progress quickly or quickly enough, which is also another thing that if you struggle with and you're wanting to get into streaming, you're going to have to learn to be patient and to not take it too hard when things seem to be going really slowly. Because except for a few very, very, very rare cases, it's extremely common for it to take like quite a while to be able to get a decent fan base or following, you know? So just keep working at it. Just keep making your content good, and people normally respond to good content. People respond to people who are relatable and people who are nice and people who talk to them. So depression definitely affects the way that I stream, and my eating disorder definitely affects the way that I stream. And to a certain extent, even though I'm not nearly as socially anxious as I used to be, at least in front of a camera anyway, I'm still pretty shy around people, but I've gotten loads better in front of a camera, which is great. I still definitely encounter experiences where I feel self-conscious, but I think that's a normal human reaction, right? Everybody gets embarrassed sometimes. Some people think that And I would argue that this might be correct, that social anxiety disorder is primarily caused by or based around a low self-esteem. And if you're going to get into streaming and if you suffer from depression or low self-esteem, then that is something that you're going to have to work really, really hard to overcome as well. And you can do it. I believe in you. I know it's really, really hard, but it's going to be even tougher if you want to be a streamer, and you're going to have people being toxic. It's inevitable. People are going to come into your stream and be an asshole to you. That's what some people on Twitch do, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. And every streamer that wants to be successful and who wants to put their heart and their soul on the line for streaming will have to deal with it at some point or other. So you have to make your skin thick, and you have to have the confidence and have the self-esteem to say that they're doing that because of them. It's not because of me. It's not because I'm doing anything wrong. It's because they have nothing better to do with their lives. So, yeah. I believe that people can do what they set their mind to. The human mind is capable of so much. We can learn so many different things. And we can overcome so many different things. We are so strong when we want to be strong. And I have to believe that I can do it. And I want you to believe that you can do it. Even though life is shitty for us sometimes. Even though sometimes it's so hard that we want to just curl up in bed and not get out for a week, you know? We still deserve to be able to try and achieve our dreams, and we don't have to let this get in the way. That's all I want to say. And I want to be posting tips about, I'm tearing up talking about this, Jesus. I want to be posting tips about how to specifically deal with certain aspects of mental illness. I want to be talking about coping mechanisms for dealing with depression and anxiety while streaming, and I want to be able to help people that are in a similar predicament as me, because sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard, and I don't want to complain. I love what I'm doing, and I love the people that I've met. I've met some amazing people, but sometimes it's hard, and I want to make it easier on myself, and I want to make it easier on other people that are going through the same thing, and maybe we can make a little support community, because everybody needs support sometimes, right? Everybody needs to know that they're not alone and that other people go through similar stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm not sure how often I'm going to be vlogging, but I would love to do more vlogs. Obviously, I'm going to be posting tips about mental health issues and dealing with them, like I just said, but as far as like normal vlogs go, I don't know. Mental health issue videos will probably come out a couple times a week, and they'll each be centered around dealing with a specific issue or aspect of mental illness. And I'm going to also be creating other types of content. I'm currently working on a video that is about the Japanese games that were announced at E3 or otherwise brought to the forefront at E3, and that should be out very, very soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to watch my streams, you can catch me at twitch.tv/deepfriedxp. Thank you so much. Deep Fried X. Peace!